Hello and welcome to the Canadian Coach. I'm your host, Heather E. Wilson. And today you're in for an extra special treat because we are going to be making butter tarts. Yes, butter tarts. Now, if you've never heard of a butter tart, chances are you're not Canadian or you've never been to Canada. And this treat, dessert, is unofficially the official dessert of Canada. So if you come to Canada, you pretty much have to eat at least one butter tart. And they are super yummy, super easy and quick to make, and you would impress all your guests if you were to make your own. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, similar to coaching, there are many different philosophies and approaches to making a butter tart. And every family pretty much has their own tradition that has been passed down through generations. However, there is a base way to make a butter tart, and then you add in all your fun stuff. And there's a big debate in Canada about raisins or no raisins. Now, I am of the no raisin camp. I do not like raisins in my butter tarts. And if you do, that is totally cool and great. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some people commenting that they are raisin people or not. However, today we are going to make a basic maple butter tart that does not have raisins and does not have nuts. You can add nuts as well, pecans, walnuts, those kind of things. But I'm a purist and I like to just have my butter tart in the butter tart way. Okay, so to get started, there are only 6 ingredients, and it literally would take you moments to throw it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the camera angle so that you can see what I'm doing, and let's go. All right, so there we go. So a butter tart is basically a couple of main points is the sugar, which is brown sugar, okay? Half a cup of yummy maple syrup. And with maple syrup, you want to make sure that you get every last drop out of your bowl because it tends to stick. And we don't want to waste a single drop of the maple syrup. So good. All right, so we've got 3/4 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of maple syrup. Now this is a tablespoon of cider vinegar. You want to make sure you use cider vinegar because it has certain properties that actually make your butter tart taste extra special yummy. And yes, you could use white vinegar, but it's just not the same. Okay, so throw that in. We have a half a teaspoon of salt. Need that. And 2 large eggs. Throw that in. And of course, the second most important ingredient is the butter. Now this is 1/3 cup of melted butter. And what I like to do is melt it and then get everything else together and let it sit and kind of not quite room temperature, obviously, because you don't want it to harden, but you do want it to be a little bit cool because you don't want it to cook your eggs. And that's kind of really important. So then you just dump all, you notice everything is just thrown into one large bowl. And then you give it a good stir with a whisk. That's about it. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm using cups and teaspoons and tablespoons and stuff like that when I'm in Canada and we use the metric system. So I should be using milliliters and all that kind of stuff. But here in Canada, we are what I like to call ambidextrous when it comes to measuring. And for cooking, we actually, well, me, most people that I know do still use imperial cups, teaspoons, tablespoons, that kind of thing. However, when we're driving on the roads, it's kilometers and meters, and in a good portion of our lives, we actually do use the metric system. And if you go to the grocery store, stuff is sold by like the 100 grams or the kilogram. But if you talk to your butcher and you ask for a pound, they totally know what you're talking about and can serve you. So we pretty much jump back and forth between metric and imperial, which is kind of cool. All right, so you're gonna want to whisk your butter tart stuff until it's kind of this really lovely, creamy awesomeness. And you'll notice it doesn't look like there's very much, but believe me, it cooks up wonderfully. All right, so that's all it takes to make your batter. Okay, so then what you want to do is have your tart shells. Now, I am not very good at making pastry, so I buy my tart shells. And that's totally okay. You know, not everybody can make pastry. My mother, amazing at making pastry. Me, not so much. So I just buy my tart shells. Now, I do buy a good quality brand. You don't want to cheap out on your tarts. But yeah, makes it super easy, quick. You can whip up a whole batch of butter tarts in less than 30 minutes. Now, the trick with your pastry is to make sure you poke a few holes in the bottom before you add your batter. Because if you don't, sometimes the pastry can bubble up underneath and create these strange air bubbles, and it kind of ruins, I mean, it still tastes great, but it would just kind of ruin the look of your tart. All right, and then what I take is a 1/4 cup measuring cup. You can use whatever you like. I just happen to use a 1/4 cup measuring cup because it works really, really well. And you don't quite fill it completely. And then you just go around and start filling your tarts. Now, it can get a little messy, but don't worry about it. Try not, like that one, try not to fill your tart right to the top, because when it cooks, it can overflow. Okay? Now, all right. So these are going to go into a 350-degree oven for approximately 25 minutes, depending on how hot your oven gets. Now, in my oven, it's 25 minutes. In yours, could be a slight bit more, could be a slight bit less. What you want to do is really watch them, and they will kind of puff up really, well, not a lot, but a bit. And you should start to really smell them really nicely, and that's kind of how you know they're cooked. Now, there's also a big argument on whether to have your tart runnier or firmer. Now, I like a firmer butter tart because I don't like it running all over the place. However, if you prefer a runnier tart, then of course cook it a little bit less. Here we go. And one last one. Perfect. All righty. So I'm just going to pop these in the oven. One sec. All righty, and let's have a little chat again. Hi there. So while those are baking, let's just have a little talk about coaching, because maybe you've never actually heard of coaching before and you're just here to learn about butter tarts. So on the CanadianCoach.ca, there is actually a really great post under the resources that's coaching FAQs. So if you have questions about coaching, that's a really great place to start. But ultimately, coaching gives you the tools and support and the structure to accomplish more, to be more, you know? Just like you've probably heard of coaching in sports, right? A sports coach, they help their athletes to achieve a specific goal. Well, professional coaching does the same thing, just in other areas of your life, such as relationships, your business, your job. Maybe you're in a career transition. maybe you're just looking to be a better person. You know, there's pretty much a coach for anything you can think of in your life. And it's ultimately a relationship between you and your coach that inspires and supports you to be better all around. Okay? And there are many different philosophies and approaches to coaching, just like butter tarts. And the one that fits you is going to be different than the one that fits me. So it's really important that you kind of explore and do a little bit of research to see what kind of coach is best for your situation at that time, because that can change over time as well. All right, so let's differentiate between coaching and counseling and training and mentoring and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of people can get really confused about those differences. So the first off is what I like to call pure coaching. And in pure coaching, the belief is that everyone has the answer deep within themselves. This is particularly used in life coaching, okay? And when you have a session with a coach who is doing pure coaching, basically they are asking you questions, deep questions, thoughtful questions, mindful questions, bringing the answer up from within you. Okay, so let's say, for example, you're having fear or doubt about something in your life. Chances are, with the right questions, you'll have a breakthrough and come up with the answer yourself. Okay, so in pure coaching, it's all about the coach guiding you to finding the answers within yourself. And this is really important and actually a really valuable skill. And believe me, it's life-changing, okay? All right, so then we have what's called mentoring. And mentoring, on the other hand, provides wisdom and guidance from the perspective of the life experience of the mentor. Okay, so they've already been there and done that, and they're giving suggestions and probably some advice on how to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. All right, so for example, let's say you're a brand new coach and you have a brand new business and you don't know what you don't know. So if I were just to pure coach you and say, hey, you know, you have all the answers within you, let's just ask you a bunch of questions until you have this thriving coaching business, it's probably not going to work so well. Versus if I mentor you, right, then I can share with you my experience as a coach and then having had a coaching business for over 10 years on what works and what doesn't work. That doesn't mean to say I'm telling you what to do and that you should do that. I'm just sharing my own experience, and you know, we work together to get your business to where you want it to be. So that's a mentor. All right, then there's consulting. Coaching is not consulting. Consultants tend to do the work, okay? So let's say you're hiring an HR consultant. Well, they will come into your company, do an assessment of your current HR practices, give you suggestions, and then you choose what you want, and then they will implement them for you, generally. So consultants do a lot of reports and just a lot of work for you. Coaches generally never do the work for you. That's totally up to you, okay? And ultimately, your results are always up to you. Then we have counseling. Coaches are not therapists, okay? We are not trained in that. That is not what we do. Now, yes, there can be a tiny bit of an overlap, but the difference is in counseling, it tends to focus on the past, okay? Dealing with stuff that has already happened and working through it to have a better future. Versus coaching focuses on the present and the future. So let's say you have a big goal you want to achieve. That's what coaching is for. all right? We are not therapists, and if you need therapy, by all means go out and get it, but do not expect a coach to be able to be your therapist. And a good coach will flag that to you if there starts to be a major kind of crossover, okay? And then finally, we have training. Now, training is teaching, right? Teaching a skill. And you will notice in the online world in particular, there are tons of programs and trainings that you can take to learn a certain thing. For example, you can learn how to be a coach by taking a specific program. And those programs teach you how to coach. All right, that's what they're teaching you. They are not actually coaching you. They are teaching you a skill and giving you wisdom and knowledge on a certain topic. Okay, so those are the different philosophies of coaching, and the one that works for you will depend on where you are in your life and what your current challenge is. The best coaches use a mixture of peer coaching, mentoring, and training, because they can then tailor your coaching situation, your coaching relationship to what works best for you. So if you're having some self-esteem things, then peer coaching is really going to help. But if you are trying to achieve a specific goal and you've never, ever done it, you don't know anything about it, then the mentoring part kicks in. And then of course, there's always training and teaching, because the best coaches actually are teachers too. So it just depends on you, 100% on you and what you're looking for. Now, if you want more information on the different types of coaching and how it can help you, go to thecanadiancoach.ca. There are tons of articles and posts and information there that can help you out. All right, so let's look at our butter tarts. Now, of course, this is the magic of the internet. I was going to say TV, but we're not there anymore. And I've already made some. So this is a butter tart, okay? Now, when they first come out of the oven, warning, do not try to eat them. It will be boiling sugar, okay? You will burn your mouth off. You will end up in the ER. Do not eat a butter tart fresh out of the oven, okay? You literally see it still bubbling. However, once they're cool, they are super yummy. And if you're in Canada, pretty much every potluck, picnic, family holiday, you name it, there will be butter tarts there. And of course, it will be a unique recipe to that family. So who knows what it's going to taste like? It should be extra yummy. However, everybody's butter tart is different, and there are literally butter tart contests and just you name it. People actually get into fights about whose butter tart is better. And of course, being Canadian, everybody apologizes after, but you know, so these are pure, straight up maple butter tarts, no raisins, no nuts, just yummy goodness. Okay, that's what the inside looks like. And once you've had a butter tart, you'll be making them regularly. They're a fan favorite in my house. And even though we could eat them every week, people still love them. Every time, as I said, if you go to a potluck, they're always gone first. Now, if you come to Canada, you have to have a butter tart. Even better, make your own and surprise all your friends and family with this Canadian treat. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching and being here. If you have any questions at all about coaching or Canadian coaching, please do drop us a line, and be sure to subscribe to our channel and share this video. And remember, the world needs more Canadian coaches.